Welcome everyone, this is Polyfuels and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Krister!
Hello.
And a very special guest that has flown in all the way from Ravenloft, Draculetta.
And boy, are my bat wings tired.
They are tired. I guess they would be.
We need a rim shot sound effect. Somebody do that in post.
This week we had a second round of beta for update 36. Let's go for what changes there were in this. First off, for the Bjorning trait Battleborn now correctly gives additional critical damage for offhand weapons. Alright. And for the captain, I guess Krister's ears are perking up now. For the captain, fighting withdrawal can now be used while rooted to free yourself.
Oh, very nice.
All right. And the class deed Fear the Darkness should now properly advance even if Courageous Convocation is traded. I don't know if you've been having trouble with that or if you completed that deed long ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if I haven't had to worry about that for years.
Yes. And as for the Warden, Forced March will no longer be toggled off when you enter combat. It will only apply a bonus to you when you're out of combat run speed. Thank you.
Oh, is that just frustrating having it turn off all the time?
Oh boy. It turning off was one of the most. The only thing that was worse was how it worked originally. Back when the Warden was first released, how Force March worked is as soon as if you entered combat, actually it would turn it off. The thing is, whenever Force March was turned off, you would lose, I think, half your power.
Oh no.
So you always had to remember to make sure you did not use Forced March as you're getting ready to go into combat, that you would turn off Forced March, let your energy recover, and then go in. And I think it took them about a year before we convinced them that that was a stupid idea. So Forced March was not used very much in the early days simply because if you were in a situation where you might go into combat, then it was a major detriment. But then they made it so that, all right, you don't wind up losing half your power when you do that, but you still get it toggled off when you get into combat. I think it's been that way for over 10 years now. But finally, they decided, all right, fine, we'll make it work like Leafy Feet, I guess, where it will toggle. Well, it won't toggle off. Instead, it'll just be suppressed while you're in combat, and it won't affect your combat speed. It'll only affect your non-combat speed.
Yeah, that actually sounds like the most reasonable option out of all of them. So, glad we finally did it. I'm glad it only took a decade.
It only took a decade.
A decade of computer years. What is that, 10 billion computer years?
We could ask Drac. He's the computer expert, right?
I think 10 billion is just about right.
Okay, 10 billion is just about right. Okay.
I'd have to quick do the math, but that seems about right.
All right. Then let's head into quest deeds and instances. In Guathranos, the Witch King Citadel, the final objective of the storming of Guathranos now functions similarly to Into the Hidden Horde, allowing players the choice of whether or not to abandon the quest after completing it. The option to complete the quest via the Quest Actions panel was causing some players to mistakenly erase their progress in a given reset cycle, so this has been removed.
No.
And as for Azanun Bazaar, the quest Death in the Dale, the quest guide for this quest has been corrected to highlight the proper area And they also did the same thing for Elusive Party. I was thinking that maybe on the second one it was giving this information because it was elusive.
I was gonna make that joke, but
Ooh.
I let it set. But good job, Patton.
Oh, stealing Drax jokes.
Exactly.
Yes. Let's go into missions and delving. The delving mission givers is being added to the skirmish camps. It will now give weekly delving quests. All right, that's good because I didn't think that a mission quest giver that wasn't giving anything was being all that much useful. And also, mission defilers in the Dale corrected a visual bug where the cauldron's contents and bubbles could become visibly offset after being destroyed. Okay.
And in English, that means what?
I'm not sure. I was trying to parse that out myself.
I'm not exactly sure what visibly offset means.
Yeah, that was a little bit strange. I guess you'll have to go into live, do that mission, and see what happens. As for PvMP, Creepside Entmore's quests now award considerably more IXP when completed. And also, the Creepside weekly quest Battles Across the Entmores now give slightly improved rewards. Many monster players' skill power costs have been adjusted. In particular, several healing skills now cost substantially more power. The base critical heal multiplier for most Creepside heals has been reduced from 1.5 to 1.2. Increased damage of Ranger Session play skills. For the Orc Defiler, cooldowns reduced for Fertile Slime and Fungal Spores. Fungal Spores initially heal potency has been reduced. Fertile Slime no longer has an initial heal. Healing from improved Blessing of Darkness now occurs every 1 second rather than every 2 seconds. It sounds like a lot of nerfs to healing on Creepside is what this comes down to. And Constant Pain now pulses healing every 2 seconds and will restore the some power to the Defiler when it does. As for the Orc Reaper, Blade Toss now only applies its slow and or knockdown effects to targets facing away from you. Okay, the idea there is that you're trying to keep them from running, I guess. And Spider Weaver, several spider animations should no longer slow down when you gain attack speed buffs. And Trapdoor Sanctuary now lasts 10 seconds when traded. It will heal 5% of your max health each round. And in general, the Homestead Steed mount scale has been increased to match the expected size of draft forces. Many animation issues have been resolved for the Homestead Steed mount as well. Updated the icon for the Storvale's Clagger milestone and for the Clagger travel skills. And several run speed buffs and debuffs were overriding effects of greater potency. Player applied speed effects should now only override effects of the same kind, out of combat speed buff, in combat speed buff, and debuff, and the most potent effect should always be the one which is actually applied. Alright, I guess that means that this is in response to the other complaint I've been having, and that was recently that Leafy Feet was overriding Forced March. And I was saying, how's the Warden slow down? Group with a hunter. Yeah, okay, so it looks like they're going to be taking care of that little issue also. And that's it for beta number 2. So I presume that there will be 1 or 2 more betas before they seriously think about releasing it. And that's it for our news. So let's go into the store sales. Krister, what's on sale this week?
Go ever on and on. Get 25% off select XP boosts, enhanced XP supply, and 100% mark acquisition boosts. And that's through May 25th. And the weekly coupon is for a free 20% mount speed boost for 6 hours. And the coupon code is Faster Mount. And that is also through the 25th.
Yes. And Sans is never afraid to ask for a faster mount. I mean, I think she wishes A, that she could use a war steed at level 5, and B, that she could apply this faster mount thing onto a war steed.
I fully support her views, and furthermore, I feel that I should be able to war steed in any zone in Lotro and trample anybody I see with my war steed at any point.
Uh-huh.
But they won't let me do it.
That could be a bit much. Yes. But anyway, just to make it clear that the mount speed boost does not work on war steeds. It only works on the traditional riding steeds.
As much as you wanted to.
Yes. So let's head into our week in gaming. Krister, what were you up to?
Well, last night we did not get a raid together. However, we did get a 6-man going, and we delved into our favorite rat-infested rat hole and fought a bunch of little vermin. And as usual, the team won just smooth as butter. Very efficient, very well. We did everything well. The T2, of course, our confidence, feeling confident, but feeling realistic too.
I know. I thought there were a couple of chunks in that butter, though.
Yeah, I was going to say we were being realistic too. Whereas, we know we can get to the end of the T2. We just know that we can't get past the end of the T2.
Yes, that second boss is. It doesn't help that that's the type of boss that drives me crazy. Anything that involves lots and lots of puddles is usually about the time where I start to break down.
Well, and that's an insane amount of puddles in that.
Yes.
And I'm almost feeling like it might come down to honestly just the configuration of the group, because we were lacking a champ and we were lacking crowd control last night. Well, it sounded like two things that we really potentially needed.
Yes, but I noticed that nobody asked me to switch to a lore master.
I wasn't even thinking about that. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with your.
I thought that was a commentary about my lore master.
That's so funny though. Our resident lore master, who has been a lore master for years and years and years. We've literally had countless times that we've had a raid and somebody's like, "Well, I wish we'd had a lore master here," and Finn's like, "Yeah, I'm right here." But yeah, that's I don't know why we didn't think about that, because you could have switched to your lore master, but that's something we will take a look at doing too. You know what I mean? We can. I think people have enough options with their characters that we can configure the party a little different. And maybe what we do is we play up to the boss with one group, and then we reconfigure it a bit for that final fight. But anyways, was I had a good time last night. It was nice and relaxing. It was really fun. Once again, working with Mythgard. It's really nice that we found kind of a group that we can get together and do stuff with and get things accomplished as well. And the one, I forget his name now, and I apologize about that. But he's been so helpful with all of the tactics for the instances, the raid, and that's been really helpful. So, anyways, the Friday night was a blast. I had a lot of fun. And my orc is dressed like such an awesome Minotaur in ESO now that I'm convinced that anytime, I've seen it happen several times now, where other people in that Minotaur helmet will run up to me, pause, and then they'll just log off. And so my theory is that they just delete their tunes right there because they're so humiliated by how awful they looked in the helmet. And they saw how glorious I looked in the helmet. But now the cool thing is I'm working on a necro tank in ESO, and he's a tiny little wood elf who has the soul shriven skin applied. But he ended up looking like the little old man in the Benny Hill skits, where Benny Hill would just slap him on the back of the head to move him around. So I've been having fun playing him. He's a nice alternative from the gigantic muscle-bound orc, you know. And then this week I've been playing Deep Rock Galactic with my friends and playing a new game called Spellforce Conquest. And I have to admit that with the Deep Rock Galactic, it's been really growing on me. It is fun being a space dwarf mining, ore on alien planets, fighting off hordes of aliens. It's been very satisfying. So, Pineleaf, what have you been getting up to?
All right, we'll begin with my warden who survived breaching the Necromancer's gate at Fellowship setting. And my lore master crossed into the Ungmar line of death and survived. So yes, I made sure I did the right quest first before doing that. And then in Dinkum, I made it a goal this week to get a helicopter. So I did a little test flight on the day I got the helicopter, but on the following day I finally used it for my first serious item. I flew out to a location where where I could mine some ores and do some treasure hunting and stuff like that. I came down and I landed my helicopter right on the edge of the river. Crash landed right at the edge of the river.
Oh.
Okay, I am just glad that Dinkum is not one of those games where if you did something like that, it will destroy it and say, too bad you lose 3 million dinks, because that would have been really sad if that happened. Fortunately, in Dinkum, recovering from such a situation isn't.
So it's not a permadeath helicopter then?
Yeah, it's not a permadeath helicopter. So yes, I did get my helicopter back after that. So that was a little bit of a challenge on that matter, but it looks like that now I'm getting all sorts of little things in there, and I think that next week I'm going to set as my goal to get a tractor. I mean, what could possibly go wrong if I do that?
You'll probably crash the tractor into the helicopter, so.
All right. And Drac, do you have any comments on what you did this week, or do you wish to pass on?
No, actually, I did. I killed a vampire daughter in Resident Evil Village. So now Mama Vampire's mad at me because I killed one of her daughters.
Well, I could understand.
She was annoying me. So.
Is this a daughter from the definition of the Camarilla, or from the definition of regular violence?
Not exactly sure. They don't explain it. So I'm assuming it's Camarilla type definition, but they don't really explain it in game.
Okay.
She just calls her 3 daughters, and then all the daughters call her mother. So I'm assuming that's how it is. But anyway, there's only 2 of them left now.
Okay, and they're never happy about that.
No. But now I'm stuck again at a stupid puzzle. Whoever decided to put stupid puzzles in Resident Evil Village needs slapped. Because Pineleaf knows me, I don't do puzzles.
You don't do. That's right. When we do a DDO thing, usually the first thing that Drac does is that when we run to a puzzle, it says, "Pineleaf, you're up."
Yep, sure do. Like, you're up. I'm gonna go get something to drink. I'll be back when you have the salt. Thanks.
Yes. And let's head into news beyond LOTRO, where Amazon is working on a new Lord of the Rings MMO. And what is this all about, Drac?
This is interesting. There's a lot to go into this. They have entered into an agreement with the Embracer Group, who recently purchased Middle Earth Enterprises with Amazon Games. So they're going to make an MMO based on Tolkien's Hobbit and Lord of the Rings literary trilogy. It's going to be set in the Third Age. Is this sounding familiar to any of us listening to this podcast right now? I just saying, same timeline, same world. Okay. Yeah, they were originally back in 2019. They were going to make another Lord of the Rings MMO. Amazon entered into a deal with a Chinese-based developer, Liu Technologies. And then 2 years into development, Liu Technologies got purchased by a company called Tencent. And then Amazon and Tencent did not get along. So Amazon's like, no, we're done, we're out. So that got canceled. So this news kind of came from nowhere because everybody just thought, oh, well, Amazon's not going to make a MMO for Lord of the Rings, but apparently they are. And that's all we know about it so far. They just said it's going to be based on Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and it's going to be a persistent MMO world, so it's going to be like your standard MMO, and it's going to be based in the Third Age, which, to me, is very interesting because do you remember Amazon just had a whole show called The Rings of Power that was based in the Second Age? So why the heck aren't they putting it there? But
I mean, you play a Valheim or you play
right. I don't understand it, but yeah. So I guess we'll see what happens with this. I was going to send an official press email to SSG so I could get the no comment email back, which I love getting as press every time I send press emails. I love the no comment. I'm like, great. That's what I thought. I didn't have to do it, though, because they actually put a little thing over on the forums. Cordovan posted, apparently, I'm sure they were getting inundated. Once people heard this news, they were like, what does this mean? What does this mean for LOTRO? What does this mean for SSG? So Cordovan says, a note from Middle Earth Enterprises and Standing Stone Games to the LOTRO community. Hello, everyone. During the past few days, we've received a number of notes from excited and concerned community members about a new MMO coming to the Tolkienverse from Amazon Games. Some folks have asked, what does this mean for LOTRO? And we wanted to give everyone in the community an update and assure you that LOTRO is not going away. Like you, we and our partners at Middle Earth Enterprises are huge fans of LOTRO. It is beloved. It is 16. It is evergreen. LOTRO is like the long-lived Ents, elves, and dwarves. We mere mortals are the stewards of LOTRO and the community. Standing Stone has every intention of growing and supporting the community. The road goes ever on. So that's the official statement from them. This is not going to affect LOTRO in any way.
Well,
my only thought on that is, how much is this? How can one community support two games that are basically the same? Like, are people going to jump back and forth between the games? It's like, oh, let me go play this Amazon whatever. We don't have a title for it yet, so it's just the Amazon LOTRO MMO is what everybody's calling it. You going to jump into that and then jump back into LOTRO and then jump back and forth between them? Or are people going to have to make a choice? I would assume they're going to be two totally different games because LOTRO is very like story based, and it's had 16 years of story and people are entrenched in the story. I just don't know if this is going to split the community or not. I guess we'll see.
Yes, we'll find out. Now, there's a possibility that some of the people who've left LOTRO because it isn't the style of game that they like. That they want something less story and more
True. And and like I said, to
fighting
be
that
fair,
would appeal
we
to
don't
them.
know
Yeah.
how much story based the Amazon is going to be.
Well,
We know the only thing we do know about it is the team at Amazon Games that is working on it is the same team that did the New World MMO, which could be good or bad depending on your feelings on that New World MMO. It's getting kind of mixed reviews. I played it
yeah.
when it first came out and it was horrible. To be fair, I haven't played it for a long time. I might reinstall it and jump back in to see if it's improved because
Yeah.
I did check like the Metacritic score and it's like at a 70%, and I think it's getting like a mid decent range on Steam for reviews. So
Yeah, but some recent ones have been bad because of certain recent updates. So
okay,
we
so
don't know. So we don't know if that's a temporary thing or long term.
right.
We'll find out.
So I'm gonna have to reinstall it and jump back in. But that's all we know so far. So it's gonna be interesting. And then I don't know. It's just strange to me they chose to do the third age and not. I mean, I realize they probably didn't want to make like the video game version of Rings of Power. Okay, I get that. But you have one season of that, and the second season is, I forgot when, I don't think they said when it's coming out, but there is going to be a second season. So you have all of your story from the first season that you could pull from. You have all of the Tolkien works of the second age
Actually,
you could pull from.
there is a possibility of this that it could be that because right now they have to go through Embracer in order to
Mm-hmm.
do the game because they don't have gaming rights directly as they
Correct.
have the television rights. They have television rights so that they can do
Mm.
Rings of Power, but they don't have.
I didn't think about that. You're
Yeah, they don't
right.
have game rights, which is why they're partnering with Embracer because since Embracer can,
Right.
can grant them that. So I will say then that probably what they are doing for Rings of Power might not fit in with their agreement with what they have. So Rings of Power
Very
might
well
be
could
off
be.
as a result of that.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but yeah, those would be two totally different rights because they only have the rights to the TV.
Right.
That's true. That is very true. Because Embracer slash Middle Earth Enterprises owns the video game and movie rights.
Right. And I have a feeling that because of the setting of Rings of Power, that might not be able to work with the game or something like that because of licensing issues and all that fun stuff.
That very well could be. So we'll see. This is going to be interesting to see how this plays out and what effect, if any, it has on Lotro and the Lotro community.
All right. Then let's go and see what we got here. We currently have 13 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support Lucha players, you go to the donations page. We support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And it looks like that back on episode 500, we missed a couple of featured comments in there. And Krister, we have one from uh, Bragzonoff
Bragg,
and
son of Balin.
Bragg son of okay.
His username is just squished together.
His username. See, squish things together. That's what happens when you squish things together. You totally confuse me.
Yeah, I figured I almost was going to separate that, and I'm like, no, I just want to hear Pine Leaf try to figure out how to say
Oh,
that.
you wanted to hear me sell.
I did that on purpose. You are
Okay.
welcome, sir.
Well, Krister, what does he have to say?
About what? What was the comment? I'm not seeing it.
Oh, you're not reading the show notes?
I was not. I'm sorry. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
I think we lost him.
No, let's see. I'm trying to see what the I'm missing whatever it is.
Okay, maybe Drac could.
I got it. I got it. Bragg says, "Hey guys, just completed listening to the 500th episode. I have to say, I was expecting more of an extravaganza for such a distinguished accomplishment. My old podcast, Light the Beacons, only made it to episode 105. Though, as a solo podcaster, I feel I may have talked as much as many of your outside of maybe the persistent Pinemeister." I'm going to start calling you Pinemeister from now on. In any event, I don't always get to listen in because of life, but when I do, it's always reassuring to know that you are soldiering on and continuing to be a rallying point for the LOTRO community. So thanks for all you do and for all of those that have gone before you. And congratulations again. Cheers and many happy returns. Bragg, son of Balin, obsessive beacon lighter. P.S. Hey, did Drac ever get that red painted skeleton seed? I didn't think so. Laugh out loud. Spoiler alert for Mr. Bragg. No, I didn't.
Yes.
Nope.
Well, that's
still
really
don't
cool.
Have it. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And Finn says, I just wish to thank you all for the 500 episodes. You have given myself and many others so much information, entertainment, and laughs. Thank you, finally, for continuing to carry the torch of this podcast for these years. I look forward to the next 500, if at all possible. Once again, thank you all.
Yeah, that rocks. That's
Another
well deserved, too,
500.
Pineleaf. You've
So you got 500 more in you, Pineleaf?
We're going to live that long?
I mean, come on.
5,000 more.
5,000 more. Oh, good grief. Yes, if you would like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. LOTRO Players and the Players Alliance, they have 2 shows each week. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Right, Drac?
No. No. Well, it's kind of whenever my life is not in the way, but we're actually changing nights. It's going to be Tuesdays now.
It's going to be Tuesdays. So
and hopefully that's going to make it more consistent.
We'll find out.
Knock on fake wood that's in front of me. We'll see.
Yes.
So Tuesdays, you can get DDO Players News.
Right.
If you
Tuesdays
are so
at 7
inclined.
p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And LOTRO Players News records on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pine Noodles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.